Welcome back to Nutritional Humility, where alternative nutritional science experiences meet economics. My name is Andrew, and I would like to showcase a step-by-step video tutorial on how to go about self-journaling for the period starting from August to the end of December 2023. However, I sincerely, first of all, do apologize for this temporary recording setup of mine, in which unfortunately my living arrangements currently at the moment have undertaken quite a significant mandatory change. So I hope that all of you do not mind. So without further ado, let us begin. So the very first thing we need to do is to go into the nutritionhumility.me website, and basically on the very first thing underneath our very first drop down will be the link that takes us directly into the self-journaling tool announcement post. So here in this case, self-journaling tool August to December 2023 spreadsheet is now available for public use. So here is just a glimpse of the overview article. Now, let us begin by actually clicking on that link, by which the very first thing that will happen is that you need to log in into your Google account, and that it will ask you to make a backup copy of this master public file into your own Google Docs, or in this case, Google Sheets account. So make sure that you make a copy. And we just wait, and we will be greeted with the introduction or the very first tab. So when it loads, we shall see that it is the welcome page, as it implies an overview as well as a general introduction over what self-journaling is, how to use, and your invitation should you wish to submit more feedbacks, and more importantly, the privacy and terms of use. Each and everything that you write about yourself remains your own property, your own private property nonetheless, as such that nobody, unless you give yourself permission to share any or all aspects of the self-journaling tool. And then next is the abbreviations, by which this is currently not automated, but this is a space for you to just outline the list of supplements that you actually are currently taking. Let me just zoom in so that you'll be able to see them in closer detail. Such that this is just a way of you trying to label them for future reference purposes, as such that you're using acronyms. So this is just my examples that I would personally use if I were to actually going to make up my own short references through all the supplements that I've been taking. So ACV, apple cider vinegar. PCH will be potassium salt derivatives. So in this case here, potassium chloride as PCH. So that would be either chromium pico or any other chromium subderivative minerals should you are taking them. Once again, just an example. And then zinc, well, unfortunately, this is actually, I would actually, once again, it was actually a bit of a mistake there. I would actually condense them into either ZNG or ZNO, etc., to indicate various type of zinc, whether it is zinc gluconate as ZNG. Let's go through a number of more examples. WPC, whey protein concentrate. And then next, what's next? Gelatin powder. So I would say GELTN for gelatin, just to have as a way to shorten as an abbreviation throughout anything that you use on a repeated pattern basis. And then we can go further. MV for multivitamin, and this is actually quite important. Magnesium, in which again this can be MgCH, MgO, MgGLC. MgCH will be magnesium chloride. MgO can refer to as magnesium oxide, in which that is usually the cheaper, more affordable versions. And then next is magnesium glycinate. For those of you who are actually lucky enough to purchase, well, there we go. That's just an example. You don't have to actually use these examples yourself, but feel free to modify them in a way that you can remember. Let's move on into the summary. The summary sheet is where all the data that you've actually included from your week-to-week journaling gets automatically copied and pasted here. So for instance, the weekly entry summary will be listed between here in this case, from Monday, July 31st to Sunday, August 6, 2023. And it also automatically calculates and averages an average return of your before training weight readings, average fasting glucose readings if you are tracking your glucose readings, average fasted ketone readings if you are actually tracking your ketones. And let's see, this is as an additional incentive, unique incentive as such that you can actually track your own custom parameter. Just one for now, because otherwise it will be a little bit too complex and complicated to use, in my humble opinion, for the lay enthusiasts. So that is that I can summarize the summary sheet. So here we can see that this is grouped into, as you may presume, chunks as weekly segments. So that's what I'm selecting there, which is combined into week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, in which that encapsulates all together the 1 month period. So this entire month period also is where I've included the facility whereby Google Sheet automatically calculate the averages for the monthly period for fasting glucose and fasting ketones. And that essentially follows on for the next month and so on and so forth. So that's that when it comes to the summary sheet. So lastly, we have the actual sheet themselves. This is where you journal your entries. We have morning entries, afternoon entries, evening entries, pre-exercise weight reading or pre-training weight readings, fasted glucose test before breaking your fast. Same likewise with fasting ketones before you break the fast. And this is where you can set your custom tracking of a criteria of your choice. And you input your values underneath that. Other notes for the day, enter your any other miscellaneous notes. Whether you can also, technically speaking, putting in all your exercise or training regimen for the day, put them down into this other notes for the day. That's how I would personally go about doing that. Just as an example. Once again, you don't have to follow this same usage case scenario. Your mileage, therefore, may vary as accordingly to your needs and schedule. So another thing to keep in mind is to make sure that if you're not tracking your criteria of inputs, do not use 0. Otherwise, Google, when it comes to calculating the averages, will give an erroneous result. Why? Because Google will automatically perceive any digits, even 0, as a valid string, as a valid value, in which that is something that we do not want. So therefore, you need to make sure that if you're not tracking any particular input criteria, leave them blank. Backspace them. As simple as that. And so that's just that as a template. We go from Monday, which is one day, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays. This image here will be something that you can actually replace with an image of your choice. So basically you can just insert image in cell, and that will just replace this placeholder image with an image of your choice, whether there is a screenshot of your MyFitnessPal, etc., etc. So feel free to use up to 2 image placeholders section for now. The reason why I'm trying to limit this into 2 images is so that it is not too encumbering, because this may not seem too encumbering, but until you put in your own data, mornings, afternoons, and evenings, things can get very dense. And densely populated. So being mindful of that, I'm trying to make sure therefore that anyone will be able to navigate this in the most practical manner. So that's that. And this is where the end of week notes is where you get to enter your summary of thoughts. What you enter here within the summary will automatically parse, copy it, and paste it into the summary sheet. So once again, that will be here in this case, or whoops, sorry, that will be here in this case, which is Monday, July the 31st, 2023 to Sunday, August the 6th. I also included space for your glucose levels, thoughts surrounding the glucose levels, plus also within space for you to write thoughts about your supplementation regimen, frequency and quality, training exercise thoughts, as well as sleep notes. Here we have your listing of the fasted glucose readings. And one thing that you'll have to point in mind, such that all these values here, you may or may not realize, those are just placeholder values by which, again, I'm just using increments of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 millimole, just to showcase the intended statistical effect in that regard. As a bit of visual incentive, we need to see graphs, of course. Here is the visual chart to showcase you how your glucose trends go from Monday and all the way to Sunday. And the same mechanism goes with the fasting ketones. If you are tracking ketones meters, by the way, in which, by the way, I must admit that ketones these days can be very, very expensive. So if you're one of the few people out there who can still afford ketone meters testing, more power to you. So that's that. Just for a bit of extra incentive as well. The custom parameters that you actually input within the custom field, each and every one of these values gets calculated the same manner as we did for the fasting glucose and fasting ketone readings. So that will give you the average calculated values there, and also with the pre-exercise readings as well, and so on and so forth. Therefore, that pretty much is the mechanism for 1 week sheet example, in which we have done August number 1. This is August weekly number 2, August weekly number 3, August weekly number 4, and number 5, etc., etc., all the way until December. I'm not sure you'll be able to see that, but let me just lift myself up there so that you can actually see, up to December the 4th, which marks the end and final period of this self-journaling tool 2023 beta version 0.12. So that pretty much concludes this entire walkthrough, just in a nutshell. Self-journaling, if I were to summarize it as such, that it remains your own personal self-property. Essentially, I would like to share this self-journaling tool as simply that, as a tool, as a facility for you to facilitate and to journal your findings, irrespective of semantics. I'm not trying to discount or dismiss anyone's circumstances as such, that we are now living in both in a housing crisis as well as also inflation crisis. I sincerely hope that you're all well, safe, and sound. As my saying goes, live it forward, and I shall see you in my next YouTube feature upload. And please look forward to my next upcoming series of written articles at my nutritionalhumility.me/blog. Once again, signing out. My name is Andrew. Take care for now.